Welcome to From Caving In to Crushing It, the podcast for those who find themselves immersed in adversity and choose to write their story instead of having others write it for them. I'm Drew Durrani, and I'm your host. Ben Curtis, good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on.
Drew, it is an honor to be here. Thank you so much for everyone who's listening, and especially for you who holds this really special space.
Oh, absolutely. It's an honor to have you on for a variety of reasons. As my audience knows, I always thank the individual or individuals who introduced me to my guest. And this one's a funny one. This is unique. I got a LinkedIn message from Ben saying that his colleague, David Fulton, who I've never met, shared my profile on LinkedIn with Ben. And it was also, I think David found it via Jed Diamond, who I've only met through LinkedIn. I'm trying to get Jed on the podcast, but he's a busy man. So this is an interesting introduction. So I do want to thank David Fulton and Jed Diamond for introducing me to Ben Curtis, even though you didn't realize you were doing it, because there's a reason why we meet people in life. Whether it's God, the universe, what you believe in, there's a reason why Ben and I are here today. It's going to benefit, and that's a funny what play on words, benefit. You know, Ben Curtis, benefit. Benefit. Ben and me, and also the audience. So enjoy this show, everybody. You're gonna love it. So why is Ben here? Well, I often talk about how when we're young, and it's not a malicious teaching by our family or friends. When we're young, though, we're taught that life is linear. It's a straight path. If you do A plus B plus C in that order, everything's going to work out fine. And for the most part, life is linear until it's not. There's always going to be an external circumstance to get in between one of those letters and change the trajectory of our lives from that straight path to that circuitous one. When adversity shows up, we either see it or we don't. Man number one, I say there's three types of men in this world. Man number one's got a ton of blind spots, doesn't notice the adversity. Life is what he's supposed, the way it is, and he just lives life the way he does. But then many of us do see the adversity, and we either acknowledge it and move forward, or we play the blame game. And I say man number two is that victim. Not his fault. It's life doing it to him. This is a barrier, this adversity. I can't do anything about it. It is what it is. He lives life on autopilot, and on his deathbed, he's got a ton of regrets. All right. Then there's man number three who sees that adversity. That's Ben Curtis. And he says, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. This adversity is not a barrier. This is an opportunity to do something different, to take massive action and become a stronger man on the other side. So, Ben, with that intro to the three different types of men, I'd like you to reach back as far as you need to for that defining moment or moments, whether it was the tap on the shoulder, the whisper in the ear, or like what I needed 6 years ago, the 2x4 upside my head, to transform you from the man you used to be to the Ben Curtis you are now, and how the change in your behavior kind of transitioned you to the type of person you are now personally and what you're doing professionally. Care to share that, my friend?
That's a great question. Wow. Thank you so much. And the way you painted man number one, two, and three, and to see that journey visually, I could really see it as you were speaking. It's just so beautiful. And I continue to have such profound transformations and rebirths in my life that
Yeah.
like I'm not sure how many hundreds of transformations to go back. The first thing that stood out to me was September 11th.
Hmm.
So I'll say it's somewhere around, that's the first thing. I usually go with my intuition. What pops
Yeah.
right away was that.
Hmm. Hmm.
And um I'm the son of a preacher man, although my father, and from the South, but my father was the coolest preacher ever and encouraged me to explore all faiths, go to synagogue with my friends, learn from like adversity right away.
Yeah.
I played in a all black baseball league. I was the only white kid there.
Wow.
I lived on the edge of extreme wealth and extreme poverty.
Okay.
My parents worked in civil rights and traveled the world. I had seen multiple countries by the age of 7 and
Wow.
lived in Europe.
Wow.
Um, and I was exposed to multiple languages, including we hosted children from Haiti, and it was a boys'
Wow.
choir.
Okay.
And my father helped sponsor them, and I played soccer with them and spoke French with them. And so I've had profound life altering experiences since an early age. I mean, I'd
Right.
say being birthed into my family right away was my future was set out for me. I mean, if you can't hear it, like the pastor, the men's work,
Oh my gosh.
and
Yeah.
my parents were the first people in their generations to both get therapy. So
Okay.
we have extreme
Hmm.
trauma,
Yeah.
suicide, depression,
Right.
generations deep, the
Right.
first people to get therapy. Why I say September 11th, though, is because I was at the pinnacle of my success, and I
Okay.
was 20 years old. I was making six figures. I was the face of Dell Computers. I was the Dell Computer dude.
Okay.
I was on TV everywhere. I was in school full time at Tisch School of the Arts on an acting scholarship.
Okay.
So I was
Wow.
already having a life changing experience. And I just moved in my first adult apartment in the what 2 months, 2 weeks later was going to be ground zero.
Wow.
And
Wow.
in ground zero, in the World Trade Center,
Yeah.
2 weeks before that, I took the Landmark Forum, which was a personal growth and development experience, like
Right.
Tony Robbins in a way,
Yeah.
that was life altering. And
Okay.
then the whole thing exploded in
Jesus.
front of
Yeah.
my eyes. And I developed incredibly intense PTSD.
Sure.
And that was the beginning of my healing and
Okay.
my faith, spiritual well being. I mean, it really was the beginning of the darkness. It got a
Yeah.
lot darker before it got better, but I would
Right.
say that's the profound moment when my life changed and I could either crumble
Yeah.
or fight and get better.
So that's the
And I
irony
fought.
of it. We talked before we hit record about grief and healing, and grief could, if we handle it in a healthy way, it could be freedom.
Mm.
And Wow, thank you for sharing that. There's so much there, Ben. And we talk about the linear life. It was kind of handed to you the way your life was supposed to be, right?
Oh my
The
God.
son of a
Ready or not.
pastor,
Yeah.
right? The taking people in, and it's all beautiful. And knowing a little about your life, just by reading about you before I had you on, I'm sure there's a few external circumstances that altered that linear path that you expected,
Yeah. Yeah. I
right?
was going to be a
So
famous Broadway actor.
even before 9/11, you
Yeah.
think about it because you were in your 20s. How old was I? I was in my 30s in 9/11. And But prior to that, I mean, were you thinking of following in Dad's footsteps as a pastor, or were you, because he encouraged you to try everything you can about
Hmm.
life, what was starting to interest you before September 11th? I know you were already at Tisch School, but where did the
Theater. I
acting
mean, I've
piece?
been performing
Theater,
since I
yeah.
was a child.
Okay,
So it
so
was
okay,
like, yeah, I'm going
theater.
to be a pastor or performer. It was pretty
Okay.
clear
Some
getting
pastors are
attention.
performers, right? Up
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
pulpit and stuff. So, all right, so
Yeah.
let's get into that. Let's get into that whole
And I want to
performance.
say something. I also was a magician. And
Oh
from
yeah?
age 13 to 20, I did it
No kidding.
professionally. And so I
No
actually learned
kidding.
how to meld all of these things. I
Okay.
used theatrics,
Okay.
characters,
Yeah.
healing, music. I was super creative and I told
Wow.
stories even about the trauma I was dealing with in my
Yeah.
very family, like my parents divorcing and all the stuff that happened. So,
You shared the vulnerability
yeah.
on a stage at a young age.
Yeah, and that
Wow.
was how I healed out loud. Like I
Okay.
needed
Yeah.
to. I'm like, is
Mhm.
anyone else seeing this?
Anybody
Because
else? I
everyone
know.
else in my family,
Yeah.
I mean, family dynamics. I had a
Yeah.
big sister. She was quiet, so I was loud. Like I didn't
Ah,
like what was going on in my
right.
household, and so I
Mhm.
developed ways to either appease, ple- please, appease, or fight or flight. And it
Yeah.
was really like
Exactly.
comedy, chameleon, and
Wow.
people pleasing
Sure.
and then
Normal.
fighting, but anger always felt way too scary and not an option.
Yeah. Yep.
um and
Yep.
so that's something that I've dealt with through my whole life.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So let's take us through Tisch School because I've heard wonderful things about the school. Very quickly, I've met I don't know if you know Ali Stroker. Ali, yeah.
Name's familiar. I
So
don't think I
so here's
know
this is a good
them.
one. So Jim Stroker is my son's life coach. Jim's daughter's Ali. Ali was in an auto accident at age 4 and paralyzed, and she became the first ever actor slash actress in a wheelchair on Broadway.
Oh yeah,
And
I recognize her. Yeah, I think
yeah,
I've seen her
and
perform in something.
yeah, she was in
Yeah.
Oklahoma on Broadway, and then it was in a TV show and
Hmm.
everything. So Allie went to the Tisch School, and I remember when I was in the life coach session with my son and with Jim. Jim was telling the story that he said to Allie, "If you didn't have the guts to knock on the door of Tisch School and ask them if they were willing to take their first ever person in a wheelchair, what would have happened?" She goes, "Well, I would have been sitting in my room, but they just happened to say yes." But the no, she had so many more no's than yeses. The reason I'm just telling that
Wow.
story is because it was the first time I heard a story about the Tisch School that melted my heart. And now you
Mm,
mention it with your thing. So I just wanted to
mm,
tie that all together. I don't know if it is tied together, but tell me about the
mm.
Tisch School and what it meant to you and and what happened after you got out of there and started your career.
It's a great question. Well, I love Tisch School of the Arts. I would love to work there. I'd love to be part of their acting program, and they've
Mhm.
changed a lot, and it's a lot more expensive now.
Yeah, yeah,
So I can't, there's some of that I have a hard time advocating for around the cost and getting
right.
priced out of getting an education you need or want. But the thing was, Tish, so I grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I was
Okay.
fortunate enough to know some actors that were had lived professional careers in New York
Mhm.
City,
Okay.
knew people in LA. And the advice I got while I wanted to go to LA a lot, first of all, my parents didn't want me to do that. My sister had already gone to California and we didn't see her for a long time.
Oh boy, yeah.
So I had to stay like, what was it, like east of the Mississippi or something like that. So I
Yep.
went as far north as I could. But we
Okay.
used to visit a cousin of ours, the only person in our family who lived in New York City, and
Okay.
she was on this famous soap opera at the time, Loving,
Okay.
which actual Bryan Cranston was in with her.
Oh, no kidding.
And
Eh?
so
Oh, wow.
years later, when we attended her funeral, I met him there.
Um,
And we ended up working together on a production years later. But all to say that for a boy from Tennessee, everyone told me, listen, just go to school in New York City. It doesn't matter where you go, just go there.
okay.
That's the place to be. You want to be in theater, that's your place. I was like,
Okay.
yeah, I love this place. That's where I want to be anyway.
Yeah.
So the Tisch School of the Arts was like the pinnacle, one of the hardest schools to get into in the country. They
Sure.
accept 2% of applicants, their acting program, especially. So Tisch has a lot of programs, but their theater program, you audition. And then at the time, they placed us in one of 5 professional studios around the city. So I
Okay.
actually went and studied with the teachers of Lee Strasberg Institute in Lee Strasberg
Oh,
Institute 3 days a
okay.
week.
Uh-huh.
So I joked like I paid NYU tons of money to send me to Lee Strasberg, and then I took classes at NYU on the side. And I could
Yeah.
have gone to Strasberg and taken classes a lot
Yeah.
cheaper, but
Yeah.
what was cool about NYU is we got to know people in different departments, film
Right.
and TV, and then we could switch studios. So while
Okay.
a lot of studios thought like the method or our method is the best, or Stella Adler was like, we're the best, or Atlantic's like, we're the best, I
Right.
studied at all of them.
Wow.
And
Okay.
but going to Tisch meant like it was a huge, no one I knew was going to New York in the South for
Right.
school, first of all,
Right. Right.
and it was a huge expense. So not only was it a win that I got in academically, it was
Mhm.
massive for me who had overcome a lot of learning differences. Now
Yeah.
learning like that school is all made up those styles and
Yep.
whatever, but I managed to get my scores up enough to get into a huge school. And then you have to get into Tisch. So my audition was so
Oh,
great that my dad argued and pitched. We got an acting scholarship, so our
oh,
family
wow.
couldn't
Okay.
afford it. I got in the school and my dad didn't know how to tell me we couldn't afford it, and
Okay.
so then we got a scholarship. We took on all these loans,
Yeah.
and then getting the job for Dell paid for the whole thing. So
Wow.
going
Okay.
to Tisch School of the Arts was like a really special thing. I feel like I
Uh-huh.
went there and kind of took classes at NYU, and it was nice to be
Right.
held. and for the first time be cool and sexy as an actor was
Love
like,
it.
thank
Yep.
God, because
There
I
we
grew up
go.
in the South
There we
in an
go.
all boys school. I was hazed so badly for being wanting anything to do with theater or
Yeah.
magic. And
Really?
suddenly, like in New York's like magic was sexy, theater was sexy, like
Yeah.
there was a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
cool stuff,
What
you know.
what a change. All
Yeah,
right.
it was a
So,
wild change of culture for
yeah,
sure, but
absolutely.
much needed.
So we could dive into the culture change from Tennessee to New York. We can dive into the whole Dell story, how you got that and what it was like. And then we can also dive into the 9/11 grief. And I don't want to pick one and not the other. So we're going to go through all that stuff
Hmm.
in a concise fashion.
Could I offer
So
something here, Drew?
please do.
They're quite connected, actually.
I could tell they are, my
Especially
friend.
the two and three, really.
All
They
right. So why don't
informed
you
each
connect
other.
them instead of me asking any specific questions? Connect them for us because I know this is going to be seamless. So go ahead.
Well, thank you. And just speaking out loud, I can see how I was kind of born into adversity,
Hmm.
and I see my father as a shepherd of healing through adversity, and my mom as someone who did that. Even interviewing her now about all the places she's traveled and gone as a Southern woman
Yeah.
who grew up in the 40s in Tennessee
Hmm.
is very rare.
Mm.
And that my parents' divorce taught them to go be themselves. Like they
Mm.
finally is like they got permission to be themselves after they
Mm.
quit trying to have this marriage that was toxic. It wasn't fun to grow up in that space.
Right.
They loved each other, but it wasn't healthy. And then my
Okay.
father became the first openly gay minister in the
Okay.
South, in the Episcopalian diocese.
Okay.
And he learned how I watched him go through hospitalized depression, coming out,
Yeah.
um, first identifying as bisexual and then gay, and then like all the healing he did. And then he
Yeah.
started a sexual support group for men,
Okay.
a
Wow.
sexual abuse support
Sexual
group
abuse support group. Okay.
at our church. And
Wow.
so I was so exposed to
Yeah.
getting help.
Sure.
And after, I was making so much money as the Dell dude.
Uh-huh.
It was such a life change. It's something I wanted. It's why I was going to New York, but it was
Right.
pulling me out of college, but also paying for college.
Mm. Mm.
And I was getting so many auditions and so much new like news interviews, and it was like the highest grossing commercial, and like they were studying us in business school. It was just
Mm. Wow.
immense
Okay.
growth.
Yeah.
And I was so scared because I felt like I was never going to be taken seriously. And there's some part of me that got so caught up in that I was like
Oh,
putting the brakes on because I felt like I was being sold off as a commodity into the world. And I was trying to study,
okay.
like I wanted to be taken serious as an artist, not just yell dude for the rest of
Oh,
my
okay. So
life.
so you didn't think you were being taken seriously because it was a commercial talking about
Yeah, and I
this.
didn't feel
Okay.
taken
No.
seriously, but
Okay.
in
Yeah.
hindsight, I realized that's
Yeah.
exactly what America needed during that time
Yeah.
after 9/11 and things. They needed
Yes.
humor. They
You
needed
absolutely
something to
needed
like,
humor. Yeah. Yeah.
and so I wasn't aware of how much power I had. And unfortunately, I really self-sabotage. And going
Okay.
through that traumatic experience of September 11th
Yeah.
also
Mhm.
it had me see how short life is,
Yeah.
to do what you love. But
Right.
also I was like imploding,
Okay.
and I was pouring drugs and alcohol on everything, and my anxiety was through the roof, my depression was through the roof, and
Right.
the only person I could ask for help was my dad,
I was going to
and one of the
ask
men
you
who I'd
who
called
you had.
to,
Yep.
and my
Hmm.
mom, she was more of a like low risk
Yeah.
uh kind of like
Yeah.
conservative liver, and my dad was kind of like, if you spend it you gotta go for it.
Yeah.
She wasn't
Yep. Yep.
driving me to New York like he was. She was not
Right.
thrilled about that. But he flew up to New York, and
Okay.
I hadn't opened my mail for 3 months. That's how bad my depression and
Oh,
anxiety was.
wow.
My bills
Okay.
were all red. Yeah, I
Sure.
even had some money, but this is where, I think we can all learn is like
Yeah.
I just needed help, and
Yes.
I wasn't in a place I could even ask for it. But if
Right.
someone I know I needed, I just couldn't walk myself there. So having my
Hmm.
father walk me there
Yeah.
really taught me. I got on medication. It took me another 10 years to get off drugs and alcohol. I kept
Okay.
drinking for a long time. And
Okay.
It took a lot more, that's why I said I have some other stories that times that changed my life that I
Yeah.
had to get. It got way darker before it got
It
brighter,
did.
but
Usually
that was
does.
all my
Yeah.
learning lesson.
Yeah.
And now I'm able to help anyone with PTSD. I can help veterans. Now I'm able to understand the deepest,
Yeah.
darkest depression and
Yeah.
suicide. I'm
Yeah.
able to I've lost friends to suicide, and family members, and I'm able to understand death and life in a profound way. And I didn't get to be a father, or we had a miscarriage that
I'm sorry.
was traumatic for our relationship, I'll
Yeah.
say. And
Mhm.
now I realize I get to be a father in new ways. So there's a lot of different ways we can look at
Yeah.
what we're given and the lessons we're taught. And so
Yeah.
those different things really, I hope I connected them for you there,
You
because it
you
really
you certainly
informed
did.
everything.
Yeah.
And I, even today, I'm
Yeah.
thinking from meeting you, oh, I got to write a book, and it's called Dude, You're Getting Well, because that's my
Yes.
podcast.
I love it.
And can I share one more thing?
Please do.
You can't see it, but for the listeners, I'm wrangling something off the wall here, and this is a framed. This is for Drew's eyes only, but
Yeah.
right now, but this is a framed cutout from the newspaper, from the this is the Associated Press, but this was on CNN headline news. It says, "Dude, you're getting a cell," and so this was ticking along the bottom of CNN headline news while I was in
Oh.
jail, because
Oh my
my
God.
tagline from Dell Computers was, "Dude, you're getting a Dell."
Yeah. They
So
put that.
these things have been flipped, and Dell was such a source of shame that at one point I was working on a men's group. I mean,
Yeah.
dude was, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh my God, I have to call my men's organization like
Dude.
dude
Yeah.
something. And so it became Dude School, and then the Dude Nation, and I was able to literally reclaim
Mhm.
one of the biggest. If you said dude to me 10 years ago,
You would have flipped.
it wouldn't have landed. I wouldn't have flipped, but it wouldn't have landed well. And now I'm
Okay.
like, oh my God, that's my rite of passage. This is what I'm there to do.
Yeah.
Um, and to
What
have a
I have a question. I have a
conversation.
question for you. This will be on YouTube. Is that okay if that
Oh
is?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. I just want to make sure because I don't edit
Oh
my.
yeah, that photo's on lots of plays.
All
I
right,
just
cool.
meant
Because
because other people
I
couldn't
don't
see
edit
it.
anything on. I don't edit anything on this
I
on the
love it.
podcast, so I want to make sure it's okay.
Yeah, yeah, bring
Let's
it
get
on.
to
I have
so.
actually, I'm gonna
Yeah.
plug one more thing.
Yeah. Please
Well,
do.
we'll say it at the at the end, but
Yeah.
on YouTube, one of my clients actually told me, he watched it and he said, "This is such an incredible piece of art that you are hiding and not telling the world about, that you must tell and share this with everyone." And
Yeah.
it's a one-man show that I did 10 years ago. It's
Yeah.
20 minutes. It's called
Uh-huh.
Dude, You're Going to Hell, and it's on YouTube, and it's
Okay.
based on this whole thing. And it's sort of my reclamation. Or wait, yeah, I think that's the title. I've got to watch it again.
That's all right.
Um,
We got to. Yeah. Just
but it's
I'll
the
definitely look that.
reclamation of
Yeah.
setting ourselves free. And so I
Wow.
actually made an art piece about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I wanted to
All right.
share that.
So that headline said, "Dude,
Getting a cell,
you're getting a cell because it was getting a Dell." Now the cell
yeah,
thing was because of it was drugs, right?
jail.
It was
I got
jail
arrested
because
in a
of yeah,
kilt while I was the Dell dude.
something that's legal now.
Yeah, for some cannabis.
Cannabis. Can you believe that? All right. Anyway,
Yeah, for like a very small amount. But they
yeah,
caught the guy dealing it to me on the street, and that was part of how I got
that was
caught.
crazy
But
because
it
I
was
did.
it
Yeah,
ended a $500,000 contract with Dell.
that's what it. Yeah,
Um,
it affected you in ways that you. I don't know.
yeah.
It's not right, man.
So, but could that's one of those things. Like, had that not happened, would I be on the path I'm on today? I mean,
I probably
I
no.
might be
Yeah.
addicted to drugs or dead. I don't
Mm.
know.
All right. So when that happened and you saw that ticker thing, which man were you? One, two, or three at that time? Were you the victim, or did you at that point take ownership of whatever was happening? Because I would definitely fall into the victim thing. So
Yeah. I was definitely in the victim place
you
then,
were
for sure. I
okay.
was not well. And oh, okay, hold on. I just want to rephrase
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
The show, the one man show, is called Dude, You're Getting a Cell. I remember
Oh,
there was
okay.
like, I went back and forth about what I was going to
What
call
you were
it,
gonna
but
call it? Okay.
I looked at it. It is called that. That's
All
much
right.
better.
So we're gonna watch that.
Um,
All right. So
yeah,
let's
did I
let's
answer your
get to.
question?
Well, yeah, you did. No,
Okay, cool.
you did. And now with you being the victim, and then we get to 9/11. Let's say, had you dig
Yeah.
yourself out of that grief, out of that, and gain
Mm,
that freedom that you have now to
mm,
change you as a stronger man.
mm. It's a great question. Well, eventually I went back and I did another course at Landmark, and there was a
Hmm.
leadership training program I was in. And
Yeah.
one of the exercises was talking about our greatest fears.
Okay.
And it was like a freedom from fear exercise. And we wrote first. And I ended up writing about my experience with September 11th. And
Okay.
there's something that hit me, and I don't remember how it hit me, if it was in sharing it or in the writing process, but
Yeah.
something about that exercise uncovered that I had been wearing "I'm a victim of 9/11" as a badge of honor,
Interesting. Okay.
when actually it had been a scarlet letter. So when you ask which man I was, literally, if you had interviewed me 20 years ago,
Yeah.
in the first 3 minutes of talking to me, I would have said blah blah blah, and I'm a victim of 9/11.
Wow.
And I didn't realize how much that was crushing me.
Yeah.
It helped me process it, right? Like, because my body went numb at some
Right.
point, my
Right.
my
Right.
fight or flight response got
Yeah.
numb, and then I wanted to like reconnect to it, and I had to remind myself that I had been impacted, but
Yeah.
it became so rote that suddenly, by seeing that, I realized I had permission. A coach asked me, "Do you want to let go of that?"
Yeah. Good question.
And we just did an exercise where I practiced like dropping this pin like it was that thing. And he
Okay.
said, "Did it work?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "All right, let's do it again." And I dropped it. And then I think like the third time, it was like this
Yeah.
spiritual experience, I'll call
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
where something let go. And I saw and just
Okay.
enough of a crack of an opening
Awesome.
to
I'm glad you found
where,
it.
like, oh, this is my light, and maybe there's something I can start to help other people through. And I started to make a lot of art about it. I made a movie you can
Okay.
watch, We Are the Hartmans. I was a
Uh-huh.
producer and the lead actor with the late great Richard Chamberlain,
Yeah.
and it's about occupying a music venue to try to save this town from everything that's being taken away. And my
Right.
character was a drummer and who worked in the music venue as the sound guy, and it was owned by this like Willie Nelson character played by Richard Chamberlain.
I
But my
love it.
character is just returned in his
Uh,
20s from Afghanistan, from
oh.
being a veteran.
Okay.
And so I
Yep.
applied everything I knew about PTSD, and I was
Mm,
interviewing veterans and active military. And I started to work out through this romantic comedy, this feature
love it.
film we created,
Yep.
a
Yep.
lot of what I was going through. And even though I
Okay.
wasn't sober yet, I was really dealing with this stuff.
Right. Sure. You were
And then
addressing
getting
it.
sober was the extra piece where I put down alcohol long
Mm-hmm.
enough to, it's been 12 and a half years, but it took, you know,
Congratulations. Yeah.
long enough. Like it took a week or two or three or a month or 3 months to start to get a little clarity that maybe there was a
Yeah.
problem and some other things that
Okay.
the alcohol was a symptom of.
All right.
And so
Yep.
that's why
Yep.
I don't judge anyone, that we always use things to deal with stuff, and
Yeah.
but
We
what's
do.
underneath it.
Yep. You always,
And that's what
and
my
I
focus
love that.
today is, to give people
Yeah.
freedom from suffering.
Well, let's all right. I want to get to that because I'm tired of everybody addressing symptoms and not root causes. So
Mm,
let's get to root causes. So you drop the pen for the third time, you see that light. You're walking through that light now, Ben, and now you have come out on the other side. And tell us what you're doing now professionally. I love talking about Dude Nation. Tell me what you're
mm,
doing for men, PTSD, suicide, grief, all that kind of stuff.
you got it. Well, first of all, I'm teaching other men how to shine their own light on
Okay.
their darkness and their light.
Hmm.
So I'm the CEO and founder of the Dude Nation, which is one of the largest growing movements for healthy masculinity on the planet. But we're an organization. We started as one person out of
Yeah. Mhm.
out of New York City, and we host experiences, both in person and online, to support men
Mhm.
in all walks of life, ages 18 to death. And we also now are starting a youth initiative as well. We
Good.
really encourage intergenerational work. All of
Yeah.
our circles have multiple ages of men.
Mhm.
We started online during the pandemic to support the influx of mental health, and the
Yeah.
actual, like, what do we do, and being open to that. And
Right.
also, as an answer to, men have been taught to do everything alone, and we could all use a little support now. And I was the only man in spaces of women,
Mm.
mostly, and of healing, but it was like, where are all the guys?
Really,
And so
guys.
I became curious about how to support us as I saw our
Mhm.
suicide rates going up.
Yeah.
And so that is a really great way that I get to support humans in all walks of life. We have a
Love
sister
that.
organization, few nonprofits we work with,
Right.
including Women Funding the World. And we really are out to change, the narrative. And we host Dude Con, which is a conversation
Uh,
inside of a conference
yeah.
around healthy masculinity.
That's
So
wonderful.
we invite men's organizations from all over the world to participate and
Mhm.
speak on their perspective, so we can learn from each other rather than saying like we're the right way.
Mm.
Um, and So that really fills a lot of my time. I'm also an executive coach through Treehouse Coach.
Wonderful.
So I'm one of the founders and head coaches there, and we coach executives, and I'm a chief well-being officer,
I love
both
that
in
too.
that organization and in the world. And that's kind
Mhm.
of the space I say I hold in the world now, is I'm your well-being wingman.
Mhm.
And through Treehouse and the Dude Nation, we've partnered to develop an AI coaching
Okay.
conversational agent, like a
Okay.
coach in your pocket, a brother
Oh,
on your shoulder,
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
you can call 24 hours a day
Uh-huh.
for personal and professional support. Be it, it's designed for men, and
Right.
it's trained in men's mental health,
Okay.
and will not and is really safe and well held and private
Good.
and secure.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
also can support all genders in all
Yeah, I
conversations,
love
and
that.
nothing.
That's AI for good, because AI
Yeah.
in the right hands is going to be for good, and AI in the wrong
Yeah.
hands cannot be. So
and
this,
and we're
I'm glad
training, it
it's in the right
learns from
hands here.
everyone. So I'm
Yeah.
like, if you don't like
Yeah.
what it's telling you, tell it, or
Yeah.
tell us.
It learns.
But we've
Exactly.
designed it to go send people back out in the world, not to
Okay.
stay on with it. To
Good. Yeah.
If you're in crisis, go call 988. If
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
want to talk, if you need an actual coach, like, we can schedule a call with Ben Curtis. If you
Yeah.
need an intervention, or if you need a, we have a lot of access and tools. So
Good.
that's 845-470 dude.
Wow.
So if you
God.
type that in your phone, it'll
Yeah.
actually call. I don't even know what the dude stands for anymore, because it doesn't matter. You type in dude and
No, it's just that the
it'll call
exactly.
it.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So 845-470 dude. So we're launching it for free this
Uh-huh.
month, and we're
Okay.
gonna start charging. And I'm also the lead singer and co-founder. Sorry, not lead singer, co-lead singer and co-founder of my band Dirty May, with my wife Cassie Fireman. And so she and I have had an
Wow.
award-winning indie folk band for the last 10 years. We tour the
Okay.
country, and it's part of our medicine and our relationship,
Beautiful. I love
how
that.
we heal, grow. We do get paid, and we curate experiences for people. And we also bring conversations about well-being to artists and music festivals.
What
So I
was the name of
coach a
the what was the
lot
name
of
of your what was the name of the band
Dirty
again?
May, M A
DIR
E T Y
DIRTYMAE.
MAE.
I love it.
So
I
we're
gotta
a
tell him.
little sassy, a little classy, and a little dirty. And it's
I
kind of
love
like
it.
this New Orleans. We don't take ourselves too seriously. We got
Yeah.
a very diverse music, and we
Beautiful.
are starting to write a whole new album about things we've been through in our
I
relationship.
love that. It's gonna help a lot of
And
people doing it that way too. I love
oh
that.
man, I mean, not everyone can spend that time with their partners, but if you can spend, we only do it a couple hours a week, and then
Hey,
we don't.
sometimes that's all you need, right?
Yeah, so those are really, I grow circles around people and men, and
I love
I'm
it.
really passionate about
Mm.
supporting well-being conversations,
All right.
professionally and personally.
Well, this is a perfect segue then, because I definitely know the audience has captured the essence of Ben Curtis. So, folks,
Mhm.
you're going to want to get in touch with Ben. Ben has suggested his email is the best way. So that's Ben, Ben at thedudenation.com. So email Ben, connect with him. It'll be a healthy endeavor.
And the
Um,
dudenation.com is our
or
website.
dudenation.com. That's the good website to hit. We've covered a lot, and now I want to get to the last two questions I want to ask you. All
Great.
right, so I'm gonna use your imagination. You're
Okay.
sitting down in your happy place, and you're sitting with 7 to 10-year-old Ben Curtis, and you want to tell
Hmm.
7 to 10-year-old Ben, your younger self, some advice about life. What are you gonna tell him, Ben?
I just got really moved. I'm gonna need a moment, Drew.
That's fine. Take a moment, my friend. Take a moment.
10-year-old Ben was really struggling.
Yeah.
Um, I think I would tell him that I didn't expect to get choked up. Thank you for the space to be vulnerable here.
Yes,
Mm.
absolutely.
I would tell him that the pain and everything he's afraid of and his sensitivity is one day going to be his superpower. And all the stuff he's going through, he's going to help change the world. And just to keep being him and be as loud and proud and unapologetic and fuck you to what anyone thinks as he can be.
I love it.
Um, because
Mm,
he was really scared and
yeah.
scared to speak up and really stand out in a place I think that needed him. You
Yeah.
know, the culture I grew up in needed more of me, I think. And I
Yeah.
was really terrified. And I spent so much time
Yeah.
trying to fit in. I think we all do as
I
kids,
think so. Yeah. Well, I want to
and
thank you. Yeah.
adults. Like we
And
actually
adults too.
need our
Yeah.
individualism, not our complacency,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
chameleonness. We need what makes us unique and special. And
We
that's
do.
why I love being around heart-centered
Yeah.
people and men like yourself,
Yeah.
because it allows me to be more open to mine.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for your vulnerability. We all feel it. And, it's true. For some reason, once we turn 18 and people tell us we went from child to adult, we start to ignore our inner child.
Mm,
And our inner child's still inside of us, no matter how old we
mm,
are. And
mm-hmm.
I think the advice that I'm sure Ben would give and that I would give is start saying yes to your inner child. I don't care how old you are or what place in life you are. You start saying yes to your younger self, to your inner child, you're saying yes to life. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I once said
Yeah.
that I told somebody that I would die for my kids. And he asked me, would you live for your kids? And I said, "Oh, I hadn't thought of it that way."
Wow.
Yeah. And so I started changing a few things so I could start living with my kids rather than saying I would
Mm.
die for them. In any event, thank you.
That's really powerful. I hold
Yeah.
on. That's really
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I'm writing that down. I hope that resonates with other people as
Yeah.
well, because people are like, "Oh, wow, you do so much," and I'm like, "I just do what I love. That
Yeah.
is my self-care. If I'm not well." And so I
Absolutely.
really encourage everyone, whether it's professionally or
Mhm.
personally or just a hobby or once in a
Yeah.
lifetime, do what you love. Why,
Absolutely.
why
All
do
right.
anything
Speaking of that,
else?
let's switch gears. Now you're speaking with young Ben, the young entrepreneur, young businessman. You want to give him
Mm,
advice. What would you tell
mm.
him knowing what you know now?
That's a great question too. I always have had a really good entrepreneur hat side of
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
And that I'm like, how young do I go? I've been doing business since I was like 10. I was
There we
creating
go.
things. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I had my first business as a magician at age 13, like
Okay.
branded,
Yeah.
marketing. But I think like the entrepreneur I really want to talk to is the like 19, 20-year old who
Okay.
really was starting to step into his power and
Yeah.
feeling like it had to be acting or he had to be
Yeah.
taken seriously.
All right.
Um, I want to tell him I've already cursed once on here. Can I curse
That's all
again?
right. This is totally open. I love it.
Okay.
I
I want to
love it.
tell him to lighten the fuck up,
Good. Good. I love it.
take himself less
All
seriously,
right. Yep.
and enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
hold on a
Yeah.
little longer
Hold on a little longer.
and ask for more help.
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ben, I want to thank you for not just coming into my life, for being who you are. Please continue being the human being you are. You're doing a lot of good for others, and in turn, you're helping yourself too. Hug your wife for me. You guys sound like an awesome duo, and just take care of yourself.
I will. Thank you. You do the same. And
All
if you need support, you know who to reach out to. Even if I
right.
don't always call you back, that's a great thing about getting to be human is like we get to
Yeah.
also say like, "Hey, sorry," and
Mhm.
do you still want
Yeah.
to talk?
Absolutely.
And also what's cool about AI is that like I don't you can now talk to something all the time if you
I
want
love it.
that can be
I love it.
supportive. But
Yeah.
humans are important. So call your fellow human and tell them you love them while they're still alive.
Absolutely. Everybody out there, please take care of yourselves. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe and give us a review to help others find it. I'd like you to answer this question. Are you living the life you want to live, or are you living the life others want you to live? I'd like you to think about that for a second, because I strongly suggest you live the life you want to live. If you want to learn more about what I stand for and my services and how I'm able to help many men get out of their own way, please go to my website at www.profitcompassion.com. Feel free to also email me at drew@profitcompassion.com. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Take care of yourself and choose to write your own story instead of letting others write it for you.